Today, July the 18th, marks Mandela Day. This is a day when South Africans show the world their spirit of kindness and generosity as a yearly tradition. This year, the day holds special significance. On this day, we give up to an hour, 67 minutes of our time to serve communities and support charitable efforts, with entire towns in KwaZulu-Natal and parts of Gauteng devastated in this week's looting. There's been no greater need in recent memory for such united efforts. Fortunately, many have not waited for Mandela Day to be of service in the aftermath of the devastating civil unrest. To tell us more about their efforts on this day and to also weigh in on the cause of the unrest, we're joined now by the Chief Executive of the Nelson Mandela Foundation, Sello Hatang. A very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. Before we speak about the numerous charitable events and the sort of spirit of Madiba that we've seen playing out on the streets of Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal, of course, on the aftermath of the looting and the chaos, there is a reflection on the Newzroom Afrika exclusive story that we're running here, speaking of tensions between the foundation and the Mandela family when it comes to the Sanctuary Mandela boutique. What are your comments around that?
No, thank you very much for this opportunity. I think for us, we want to look beyond the tensions, as it were, because we actually have had some of the Mandela family members who are very happy with the project and who have given it their blessing because they can see what we're trying to do. Just to say that this house had fallen into disrepair, and we had to even break down some parts of it, retaining most of it, including the facade. And us doing that was to ensure that the house can be able to maintain itself without expecting us to use donor funding to continue to maintain it. So we do our best to ensure that we honor the legacy in the best way we know how to, and we believe that it can further the legacy. So it being used, the house being used by many people, is in our best interest, and we're hoping that it's in the best interest of the name Mandela. So hopefully, or the name Nelson Mandela, I should say. So hopefully, the family members who are disaffected and feel that this was wrong, I'm hoping that they will come around.
Why do you believe, why was the message not communicated to all members of the family? Because, I mean, the initiative looks good, I mean, and the idea behind it is something that is really to be proud of when it comes to preserving Madiba's legacy. But perhaps it speaks to a matter of communication.
Most probably. And I guess one will have to keep improving on that front.
Now, as we turn to other matters here, of course, today being a really significant day, one speaking to the hearts of South Africans when it comes to their spirit of rebuilding the nation. The looting and the violent protests have had a detrimental impact on many, many lives across Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. How are you stepping in today to make sure that as a foundation and, because, Madiba believed in building and unity, what will you be doing today?
Well, I just, to kick off the day, we started off with Legacy Ride for Hope, which I just finished now, a few minutes before I came on air. And it had over just under 1,000 people, rather, who participated. Later on, between 12 and 1, there will be another group. And again, between 5 and 6, there will be another group. Funds raised from Legacy Ride for Hope come to the Nelson Mandela Foundation for us to help with feeding many families who are going to be in desperate need of food. So we partnered with Discovery, and Discovery members can then climb and rather ride. And with the ride, they will then convert their points to money, which will then use to fund food. The second one is I'll be leaving now to go to Soweto, where we're going to be helping feed families of child-headed households predominantly. And then from there, we're going to an old age home. From the old age home, finishing off with cleaning some of the malls that were destroyed during the unrest. Now, the last part of the day ends up with mentoring in the afternoon, where we mentor young people. So some of the leading South Africans will then be coming on board to mentor young people, so that we can mentor the next generation of leaders, the leaders who can take on the baton of leadership from the older ones, so that they can then be better leaders than even what we have imagined leadership to be. So at a point like this, tomorrow a lot of people will be unemployed. And it's instead of us doing just what we can, instead we shouldn't be looking away. That's why the foundation is saying, don't look away. Play your part in order to help build a South Africa we dream of.
And how should South Africans be weighing in and also doing their part? What would you like to see happen?
Look, there's always someone that you know who is in need. On Tuesday, we'll be in Mpumalanga because there's 2 families there who are going to be benefiting from two houses. So one is a 70-plus-year-old whose house was destroyed by a storm, and we're going to be helping build that home. The second one is of 2 orphaned boys who, again, are living in squalor, and we are hoping to then help them by building them a home. 2 donors have come through to help with that. What we are saying is if each one of us play our part, sometimes it's just your time. You give your time. In other times, it's just you giving it's a little bit of money that you have so that you can help feed another family. And we are saying if each one of us do that, South Africa will not have as many people who are struggling at the moment. The current unrest was also because of the kind of inequality that we have. That's why we're saying the rule of law must apply for both the elite and also for the everybody else on the ground. So let's try our best to help build a country that we dream of.
And let's go back a little bit and talk about the trigger point that led to the amount of rebuilding that's needed at a time like this, where the economy was already on its knees and people were already, at home looking for work and unemployed. This protest, starting off with former President Jacob Zuma's release, his call for the release, spiraled out of control, raising some really serious questions about the socio-economic status of the country and the actual judgment that saw former President Jacob Zuma sentenced to a 15-month imprisonment. What does that now signal, or what does it speak to when it comes to the Constitution, our democracy, one that was hard fought by the likes of former President Nelson Mandela?
Well, it just tells you that democracy has not delivered as expected to majority of people. It just means that with the dreams that we had in terms of a better future that would be for all have not been realized. And all of us are aware that levels of inequality in South Africa are just too bad. And what it means is that we can't continue to pretend as if that is normal. We're going to have to do something to change the course. And I'm hoping that we will learn that this is the beginning of us saying, not in my name that can it be that so many people suffer, not in my name that so many people are struggling. And each one of us should then be contributing towards helping that build that kind of country that we want. The most important thing about this moment also is that we must be reminded that this was long time coming in terms of inequality that we have. I mean, it cannot be right that so many people are still struggling just to make ends meet. And South Africa was declared one of the most unequal societies in the world. Yet we did nothing about it. So that's why at the moment, when there are such unrest, and it can be triggered by anything. Last time you'd remember that we had non-nationals being blamed for the kind of problems that we have, and foreigners were attacked. And we can't then continue to have scapegoat after scapegoat. We must just change and turn the course.
As you speak, looking at an article written in the Sunday Independent by Chief Nkosi Velile Mandela, he says that in many moments of personal crisis and at times of despair, he's found himself in great solace in turning his thoughts and asking the question what his grandfather, Nelson Mandela, would have done, or advised in a situation like that? What do you imagine to be the answer?
I don't know. All I know is that Madiba wouldn't most probably not be happy about the state of the many people who are unemployed, particularly young people. And to have over 60% of young people who are unemployed is unacceptable. And in any country, that kind of thing is a trigger point for the kind of unrest that we have. And you'd remember that most of the people who are causing this kind of trouble are young people. So I think if we are to reflect on the kind of country that Madiba was dreaming of, it would be the answer would be for us to try and change course, for us to try and build that country that he dreamt of, which cares about the vulnerable, those who feel that they are the wretched of the earth, that they are forgotten. We must not leave anyone behind in terms of development. That's why our developmental way of thinking should be about how do we make sure that we change course to help others to grow.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time and weighing in there on some of the questions around looking, of course, and reflecting on the importance and significance of today being Mandela Day. 67 minutes is really all that's required here, as we've seen many people across the country bringing out their brooms and emptying their pockets to assist. And, of course, looking at the impact of business and many who are willing to help up with cleanup operations in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. That, of course, was Nelson Mandela Foundation CEO Sello Hatang speaking about what the foundation is doing and, of course, plans encouraging South Africans to ensure that they do their part in assisting in making a difference today being Mandela Day.